Hello, Check It Out with Jessica Lee. Thanks for joining our show today. I have a special guest here, Vidhya Srinivasan. She is the VP of Marketing at BMC for the Cognitive Services Business Unit. And my apologies, you can talk more about it and we can learn more about the marketing modern techniques that you're doing and some of the trends that are going on and more about BMC in general for our audience. So thank you very much for joining the show, Vidhya.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So BMC is one of the leaders in the market when it comes to service management, right? ITSM.
Yeah.
And if you could just let us know what's been going on. What are some of the exciting work that you're doing on the marketing front?
Sure. Yes, so I am part of the Service Management Business Unit within BMC. And as part of that, when you think about the industry and the transformation that's happening, we are in the midst of sort of the fourth industrial revolution, right? So we've kind of gone through the client server wave, we've gone through mobility, we've gone through cloud, social media, and now it's all about AI and robotics and process automation. So, so in that construct, our customers are really going through quite a bit of change themselves. So they are, dealing with the proliferation of clouds. They're dealing with proliferation of devices, and then the big part is sort of the people. Right? When you think about the 2025, 75% of the workforce is going to be millennials. Think about, the form factors, the channels in which things are going to be consumed. So in that construct, in the background of couched everything on that context, enterprises are thinking about how they can deliver services and experiences in the fourth industrial revolution. So to support customers in that journey to their digital transformation in this context, BMC launched what we call Bmc Helix, which is really our transformation to support our customers from ITSM or IT service management to what we call cognitive service management. Really leveraging the power of microservices, containers, and cognitive AI technologies to really transform the way services and experiences are delivered to our customers. So that's really, my role within BMC is really heading up the marketing aspects and supporting the go-to-market aspects to help deliver these sets of solutions to our customers.
Okay, so we're talking about enterprise B2B marketing, right?
Yeah.
So given that there are a lot more tools available now to find that targeted persona and giving them the message at the time when they are actually seeking the information, how do you do? What are some of the experiences you've had, lessons learned, successes maybe you can share with us on the B2B front?
Yeah, sure. AI has really transformed or opened our eyes to a new world in terms of marketing. So, there are sort of three different areas in which it has changed or is changing in what marketers have to do. Obviously, one is really around the personalization aspects. Right. So for marketers, it's all about the right content, the right audience, and the right form factor on the channel in which it's delivered. So with AI, I think the personalization is kind of caught up to a next level. Right. So it's really important that we have, we leverage the right technologies. There are companies out there that help us, that leverage AI and machine learning to help deliver that sort of personalization for marketers. So as being a marketer and kind of working through this, sets of B2B strategies and tactics to reach the right audience, we are looking to those tools to really help make sure that we are, one, grabbing the right audience attention, making sure it's relevant, because as you and I'm sure have spam filters. If you have the wrong message or if you have the wrong form factor, we end up in a spam folder. So it's really important that leveraging the right tools that leverage AI to help us predict and be relevant is going to be important. The second facet is really, chatbots, right? I don't know about you, but when I pick up and call American Express, it goes to a virtual agent. I don't know. Sometimes we don't even notice.
Right.
It's
good now.
Exactly. So that's a big part is the accuracy, right? So if a chatbot or that agent is not accurate in terms of how it responds, you're not going to do this again, right? You're going to skip. So that's another aspect of what marketers are looking to make sure is how do we leverage that sort of accuracy and efficiency in how you market them, be it in your, the traditional marketing approach where people have landing pages, campaigns. So how do you make sure that you could drive efficiency by using the chatbot to help navigate the customer to be able to download the right information, to help them navigate to contact somebody else, or to get the right demo or trials from a marketing standpoint to drive the leads, to drive conversions. So chatbots are a great way to ensure that you could drive more efficiency and help customers gracefully transition the funnel to provide a win-win situation for both customers who are seeking information to know about your product, as well as you as a marketer trying to drive more leads and conversion for your enterprise. So that's another rule. And then the third bucket is the common big one that everybody wants in marketing is SEO. So even Google is looking to, is already applying AI technologies to be able to apply it to their SEO engine. So I believe it's called RankBrain, but it's something that Google is really looking to. So for customers like us or of Google who's driving SEO for their websites, things have changed. Things are more tuned and more apt. It varies by assets, it varies by websites. So there are, those are sort of the top 3 items that we as marketers are just basic bread and butter to ensure that you're able to deliver what customers are looking for, as well as making sure you meet your goals from an enterprise standpoint. Those are, enormously transformed from a marketer's lens.
I think one of the strong ways of building awareness and generating interest is through customer references, advocacy, and stories that others can really relate. Are you leveraging that for lead generation?
Absolutely. So especially when you're trying to help customers with transformation, your customers or your sets of customers you're working with, or even prospects you're trying to attract, they're all at varying levels of maturity. And of course, as much as we as marketers want to talk to customers and keep talking about ourselves and our products, customers are never gonna,
believe you as much.
Exactly. So you want to relate to somebody like you and I do on Amazon, right? We go look for it.
The reviews. Section, yes.
So you really want to make sure that the ecosystem and the advocates around your solutions are there kind of talking on your behalf. So that's sort of so customer advocacy is sort of at the foundation of making sure you're successful and you're able to reach the customer. So having customer testimonials, having case studies or showcase customers that are, using the megaphone on your behalf is really the way to be successful in marketing. So awareness and customer advocacy kind of go together hand in hand to ensure that you not only are, driving awareness with a good source of credibility and authenticity through the advocacy, but also making sure that you're able to retain and engage your customer base in a balanced manner.
How about analyst reports? Do you think that's also still a very strong area where people actually trust what the reports say and take a lot of, does it carry a lot of weight, do you think?
Absolutely. Especially, I think there are certain markets which are still sort of dependent on, Gartner Magic Quadrants, there's Forrester, there's IDC. Right. So it's a big part of how people go through the RFP process, people go to some of these analysts to get their second opinion on which solution or vendor they should choose. And especially in our space, ITSM space, it's a big part of convincing customers to say, yes, you are the leader and you are superior compared to your competition. So that's still something that we put a lot of effort into. And I think as we think about market shares and leadership in the markets, especially with this transformation, I think more and more customers are going to be looking to make the decision, because at the end of the day, people making the decision are going to be accountable.
Yes.
So they want to make sure they have picked the right partner to help them with the transformation.
How about social media? How is that being leveraged, and what do you think of social media?
Social media has come a long way since like I would say even 10 years ago. I remember when I was at Cisco, I started off with customer marketing actually. So, and I was supporting support arm of our business, and Facebook and Twitter were sort of the primary channels or tools that we use to reach to customers, right? And the immediacy of what social media offers is unbelievable, right? So you don't have to wait for an email to come through or somebody passing through a lead and then following up or complaints and all of that. So being able to listen to a customer and be able to acknowledge, whether you're able to, solve it for them is a different question, but to know that your issue has been heard is a big part of that. And I'm sure you and I feel the same way, right? To know that it's been addressed. So that has come a long way today. Obviously, we have LinkedIn, which is more active in the context of B2B marketing. So now we really have, and then if you think about, again, the technology piece where AI and machine learning are being used by Microsoft from a LinkedIn standpoint, and Facebook and Twitter, just being able to target the right audience on those media is a big part of how we are able to make the impact, right? And then those snackables, right? Let's call them snackable content.
That's a good word.
So I strongly believe in sort of the snackable content because that's the way to make an immediate impact, because that's the extension, right? So you look at your LinkedIn feed on the wall and you look at the image. That's all you look for. Sometimes you don't even click on the link, right? But you need to make an impact on the first exactly. So I think the snackable content is sort of like a result of social media, and I think it's a powerful outcome that we have to continue to evolve.
Yes. I think our ability to just stay focused has shrunk. So we call it bite-sized content. Delivering it in an interactive format that they can be self-consumed immediately and at their own pace. And yes, with that bite-sized snackable, we do that too. Yes. So maybe if you could share with the audience some of the lessons learned. What have you done that you're like, oh, we realized this and we learned this and we changed because of that?
I think the big lessons learned for me personally are, and I'm sure other marketers there.
Yeah, we all have lessons learned.
Right?
That's how we grow.
So one, I'll probably highlight a couple. One is really around targeting, right? So when we started, we used to think about, at least depending on the size of the enterprise, right? Sometimes if you're the leader in the market or you are the go-to vendor or solution, you have the benefit of having this big install base and being able to control the market and the noise in the market. And for me personally, since I used to be at Sun, I used to be at Cisco, it was something that you had access to, right? But then when I came on to BMC, we are still leaders in the market, but the competition is pretty tough. So you don't have as much of a luxury to be just focused on your customers. You need to think about the outside-in perspective, right? It's not just about what you do and what you say. It's about what the ecosystem says. in that construct. So I think this notion of customer advocacy that we talked about before is more and more important, not just customer advocacy in our sense, but the broader ecosystem aspect of it. It just is so much more important because now we talked about social media, we have what we call peer insights. So we have the consumerization like Amazon happening on vendor solutions. So you have G2 Crowd, Trust Radius, Gartner Peer Insights. Yeah. So we have all these tools where customers go, and if you don't have enough reviews, if you don't have a great review, chances are you're not going to be on the short list of what customers are looking for. So that's a big, I guess it was not an eye-opening per se, but it was a big, change in the way you think about marketing. Right?
Influencer marketing.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. That's the right word. Yes. Yeah. So I think that's a big part of what customers. It was important, but when you are controlling the market, it's not as important. But when you come into a place where it's very noisy, and that becomes more and more relevant. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's a big one. And the second one is really thinking about spam and social media overall, right? Before, you kind of thought about everything on social media was true, and there was nothing we need to worry about. There's some sort of moderation you go through, but when you think about today, there's so much moderation you have to do. It's really out of control. So it's sometimes you think about it, it's like before, moderation was part of a role for a person. Now you need to have moderators managing it because there is so much noise happening that you really have to, that's where, some of the newer technologies could help you, is how do you ensure that you can make sure, one, the tweets or your feed is authentic and credible before you act on it, right? So I think that's a big part of the change we are seeing right now is how do you make sure that you are feeding in the right information, you're reacting to the right information, or you're reaching the right people, because sometimes you have bots, right?
That's right.
So that's a big part of how social media is really changing, and it's sort of things that we are trying to figure out as we speak. But that's a big change.
Yeah, I think it's a challenge in that you don't know whether you can trust that content was just delivered now. Like you doubt, you have to wonder first.
Exactly. You don't know the source, or you have to figure out, okay, is this the right source? And sometimes you have information that's out there that you think is ours, but it's not. So there's a lot of I'm using moderation loosely, but it's more than just moderation, right? Because it's validating, it's ensuring that you don't have things that get into your feed that is not you. There's ads, right, that get in front of customers. So there's a lot of effort that needs to go in,
like prevention of abusers.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that as a marketer that was not really in your domain, or you didn't think about. You just thought about it as a megaphone initially. Now, as a result of using that megaphone, you have to put in all of these things in place, guardrails in place, to ensure you don't end up misrepresenting or targeting the wrong audience, right? Because you don't know if you're talking to bots or real humans in some cases.
That brings me to the question of what are the challenges? In the marketing is responsible for awareness, lead generation, helping sales in that funnel to generate business, right? In the B2B marketplace that you're in now, even though we have so many tools, others have many tools. Yeah. So everybody's using the latest and greatest modern techniques and practices to get those numbers, the metrics. What are your challenges? Maybe what are some of the exciting plans you have for next year?
Yeah, I think for specifically, in my role today, I think I briefly mentioned it in a different conversation, is really about ensuring that you can bring along the customers in the varying degree of maturity along.
That journey, right?
Exactly.
That journey, yes.
Exactly. So some of them are forward-thinking customers who are sometimes ahead of us. And, they know exactly what they want. They have a vision and they working with us to get there.
Okay.
And there are some that want to go there but are hesitant. So it's really thinking about how you are driving this awareness, one, to your initial customer base, right? Making sure you don't lose the laggers, but make sure you keep the forward thinkers, happy and deliver what they need. So it's one, making sure the install base, your customers are happy. And then the second challenge, I think, is really around, the competitiveness of the markets. And as I said, we have megaphones, so competition has megaphones. And when you think about the resources, they're not always equal at the same, for both of us, right? So your competition might have more resources than you do. So making sure that you can balance and ensure you can prioritize those resources to ensure not just keeping your customers happy, but how do you grow, right? Grow your market share. How do you grow your customers, be able to reach prospects, reach your competition's customers? It's a constant, it's something that as marketers, you're constantly thinking, because if you're just reaching your customers, that's okay. But you need to reach prospects, and you need to reach your customer or your competition's customer. So that's where, marketing needs to shine. So from a go-to-market standpoint, from a sales standpoint, it's making sure that you have the right content, you have the right training and enablement that goes to support your go-to-market arm, and also to be able to reach the prospects that you want to get to grow, not just protect, is a big part of what you need to be thinking about. So that is a big challenge that I think we are all learning on the job. But at the same time, I think the technologies and tools that we have available to us is going to absolutely help us get there.
And most of your sales, is it through the partner channel then, or is it direct?
I think it's going to be. It varies by company. Ours is a mix of direct and the channels that we leverage.
So you're helping the partners, enabling them to be successful.
Absolutely. So I think this is where the ecosystem comes in, right? So when you think about making sure that the awareness is not just within your own company, but then the awareness is sort of at a point where your ecosystem are experts of your brands, of your your tools, your messaging, is a big part of how marketing success should be measured. So it's not, so all of that needs to fall in place.
Okay, all right. Well, this has been a great conversation. Thank you very much for being on the show, Tech It Up with Jessica Lee. I appreciate you sharing the insights. Definitely, I've learned a lot, and hopefully the audience appreciate that. We would love to hear more next year with the changes and how the practices that you're putting in place, and welcome you back next time.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.